We're just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
I did. Oh, wow. Right on the tip. Just on the tip.
And Blabs. Co-hosted by our friends from around the internet.
There is a portion of Norway where it is legally required to carry a firearm at all times.
If you're just a normal man looking for common sense in this crazy-ass world, you've come to the right place. And now, broadcasting from our homes from around the internet, it's time for Side Scrollers.
Okay, you ready? Open wide!
Oh, welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollersPodcast.com. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to you. Hi, I'm Stuttering Craig. Man, the internet, stop it. Stop doing what you're doing. Gaming industry, stop doing what you're doing. You're so racist. It's ridiculous. So sexist. It's crazy. We got so much to talk about. It's insane. Glad you're with us today. Blabs is not with us today as she's hanging out in the background because she's sick like a little baby bird, and it's so sad to hear. I'm dying, Pop. It's so sad. But Blabs,
I do not sound like that.
yes, you do. Every time
I'm not a baby bird.
You sound like Zoolander dying from the black lung pop.
I have the plague.
Get out of here.
Okay.
All right, joining us today, we got two buddies joining us here on this wonderful Thursday morning. First and foremost, wearing an amazing, they're both wearing great shirts. Which one do I choose first? Let's go with the classic shirt from $99.99. It's John with the Dreamcast shirt. What's going on, John? Good to see you.
I'm good, man. Yeah, good to see you too. Thank you for having me on. I'm a big fan of the Dreamcast, yes.
Dude, aren't we all? Rip, gone too soon, man.
It's a shame what happened to it, man.
Fucking piracy. Always piracy.
Yeah.
Did you pirate games like somebody I definitely know that didn't?
I actually didn't. I learned about that later on. The reason I thought it really failed was because of the lack of a broadband modem, and also it only had the one thumbstick. But then I realized the rampant piracy problem, and I was like, oh yeah, that'll do it.
Yep. Nobody bought any games. They just stole them. So, there's that. I once again, certainly know nothing about that. Smash, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. I got my Side Scrollers shirt on, rocking the style.
Look at that guy.
It's no Dreamcast shirt, but
Oh, true.
I do what I can. In regards to the Dreamcast, I bought it day one, loved it, sunk a ton of money into it. Obviously back then, bought 3 games at launch, plus another controller, plus a VMU, and I was out the door like back in '99. It was like $1,000 after all said and done after taxes, and it set me back so far that I was like in debt for months from it. And I ended up selling it because I'm like, I'm not getting the value out of how much money I put into this for 3 games. And I think that kind of is what did it in, at least for me. I didn't do the piracy until way after either, though.
Smash going on the value prop back in 1999. He's
like, I mean, Soul Calibur GOAT Dreamcast is amazing, but I mean, after you beat Sonic Adventure, what more can you do with it? It was fun. I loved it, but
what games did you buy? The 3 games.
I think it was it Hydro Thunder? Was the first, whatever the launch lineup was. I can't remember. But Soul Calibur, day one, and Sonic Adventure, day one, and it was fun. It was fun, but again, like, it was a lot of money relative to what else was around at that time. I feel like I was having more fun on alternative sources.
Chat, what was the best Dreamcast game? I mean, mine was personally favorite. Like, I love MVC too, right? And like for me, Dreamcast was the fighting game system. Like Sonic was great and all that stuff. Shenmue, yeah. It was all about the fighting games on Dreamcast. It was great. Yeah.
I never actually got into Shenmue. Crazy Taxi.
That game, man.
Crazy Taxi was one that I had Crazy Taxi. That was a good one.
I've talked about this many times, but Crazy Taxi for me ruined Offspring, and like just hearing yeah. Every time you start the game, it's like just.
I mean,
remember
now
having
you
a conversation
cannot
with
hear
Chad
that
James.
song without thinking of Crazy Taxi now. Like if it comes on, it's like automatic Crazy Taxi for everyone.
1000%. John, what were you saying?
I'm a massive fan of Power Stone 1 and 2. Those are my favorite. Some of my favorite fighting games next to Smash Brothers. So good.
Man. Yeah, Ikaruga, Ready to Rumble Boxing. Man, that's good stuff right there. There's some.
Oh man, Ikaruga was on Dreamcast.
Yeah, man, Ikaruga.
Because I got it on GameCube. I didn't know it was on Dreamcast. That was a good game.
Right. And as McLeod says, now the offspring ruin themselves. That's right. There you go. Well, we're glad everybody's here when talking Dreamcast. See what wearing that shirt does? Way to go, John. Just get us into Dreamcast talk.
What have I done?
Or what have you done?
Now let's talk about side scrollers, Craig.
That's right. Hopefully piracy doesn't kill that as well, which is good. We are a platform agnostic show. So we actually encourage people to take clips of our show and put them wherever they want. They can do that anytime they want, at any time, and we're cool with it.
So you're not Black Girl Gamers. Got it.
No. We encourage that for sure. With that said, we are live over at Rumble. We also have an X account and an Instagram account, don't we, Blabs? Yes, and I'm going to kill everybody who doesn't subscribe to it. Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, Blabs. We also have a Kick
hang
account.
you all by your toenails upside down like a bat.
Just in and out. There she is right there. We also have the audio version on the show over on Apple Podcast and Spotify. But of course, the place we want you guys to go head over is to become a supporter over at sidescrollerspodcast.com, as we just passed 100 supporters over on the website, which is phenomenal. So head on over there, sidescrollerspodcast.com. We'll redirect to our locals page, which is like going to be our home base moving ahead, including our newest supporter, CDI Guy. I'm sorry, I said CDI. That's a G. GDI Guy. GDI Guy, thank you so much for your support over on sidescrollerspodcast.com. Also, wanted to give you a heads up. Next Wednesday, we had this past Monday, we had Golden Era, the documentary release, which was a documentary about 007, GoldenEye 007 on the N64. Spectacular documentary. I decided I'm going to be doing a watch along of that coming up next Wednesday. A supporter-only watch along on Tuesday at 2:00 Central Time after the show. That is next. So head on over there. Become a supporter. Is only going to be for supporters because supporters only get access to Golden Era. So we're going to be doing that coming up on Wednesday. So head on over there. And just once again, another quick reminder, another lower third for you. Use promo code GOLDEN, get $27 off your annual membership over there. So yeah, there you go. Good stuff. If you are new to us over here on YouTube, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. Join the 96,318 normal men who have found common sense in the video game and entertainment spaces. Let's do our best to get to 1,000 likes today. Can we do it? Yes.
Craig, I'm gonna have to take over for you pretty soon here. Your mic is cutting out.
You keep cutting out.
Really? Let me bring me down a little bit. Do I sound like shit?
Yeah, you sound worse than me.
You sound like you're talking to through a paper cup into the.
Yeah, I think it's a bit rate issue. It's not volume.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's
that'd be better.
Yeah, you sound fine now.
I pulled my mic away from you a little bit, so sometimes I get a little too close.
Okay.
Thank you, Blabs. Appreciate that. Well, yes, if you need to, Smash, by any means, take over if you feel the need to. But
I feel like that guy in that movie that's like, hi everyone.
Or Blabs whenever I'm gone. But Blabs is learning. She's doing a great job. She's doing
she's great.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Yeah, she's doing an excellent job. Learning really good. But we do have Today in Gaming History today. I also want to point out I was a dum-dum and I missed every single direct donations yesterday. I had a different screen set up and I totally flubbed it. So I'm going to read those off a little bit later on as well. We see all your super chats, your direct donations, which we'll read those throughout the show as well. But first and foremost, John, you said you had a momentous occasion last night when you played. You played a game for a little bit. What game was that?
So the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster came out yesterday, and I'm a massive fan of the original.
Okay, well,
and,
hey, hold on. How about we do a little 2-minute review?
It's time for a 2-minute review.
John, you got a full intro. Look at that. Go.
Huge fan of the first one. Like a system seller on the 360. It was that good. Not perfect. Had a lot of problems with it, but they were forgivable because they were trying something new. And I think this actually, it warranted a remake because of that. Like there were problems to fix, and there's like such great potential there to make it perfect. And it's still not perfect, unfortunately. But it's very pretty. I mean, it's a graphical overhaul. It plays mechanically like almost identically to the original. Everything's just been skinned and textured and shaders everywhere, and I think it still needs like a patch or two, because I noticed a lot of stuttering. I think because there was no shader compilation at the beginning, so the game is forced to load shaders on the fly, so I was getting a bunch of first time stuttering. I don't think that'll repeat. There's some weird things they fixed the AI, like the survivor AI, which is good. There's weird things like the glass breaking looks worse now. It's like it used to come out in like these sort of satisfying shards, but now it just comes down in this one solid giant pane, and it looks really weird because one of my favorite things in Dead Rising was to do the air kick through glass windows and just like charge through. There's like little hiccups here and there. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't it amazing that there's like these little things that you pick up that happen when you play video games that you immensely enjoy, but people just like take them for granted. And in this case, they've taken for granted the idea of breaking glass and how satisfying it is while you do a ninja, you know?
Yeah, it bugs me when little shit like that affects gameplay in some kind of way, is changed.
It's just glossed over by a developer. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's solid from what I've played so far. Because I mean, Capcom, I mean, I thought they did a really good job with the Resident Evil 4 remaster. Mm-hmm. I was nervous about that, but I thought that was excellent. And it seems pretty solid so far. There's been like you've gone over some things about it, some changes that were made. You know, they swapped some characters, racially speaking, or at least one, I think. And to be honest, that doesn't really bother me because I feel like the new character they come up with still it fits, and it just comes down to execution. I haven't gotten to that part in the game yet, so I'm curious to see how the character is written and voiced and everything. But it's cool, man. I'm just waiting on a patch to fix a few hiccups. That's all.
So as an old school fan of the original game, just your overall thoughts on it. Like, yes, is it worth the remaster?
It is to me. I don't know how to. Yeah, people might prefer just to play the original instead, you know, and get it at a huge discount because it does play very similar. But if you want the pretty makeover, I mean, the mall and the characters, they do look really good. So there is that. And also the sound design has had a complete overhaul. Like, it sounds really good. You wear headphones, you can really notice all the work that they put into it. So,
oh, good. Yeah. Good. Well, I saw this video and I wanted to point this out. This was passed around, and talk about like them changing the textures or the way the glass breaks and such. And this was, I was honestly kind of shocked at how dim and like this looks. Maybe he's looking through a camera lens. I would imagine here, how dark it looks compared to the original and how less colorful. But this is the explosion of the gas station here at the beginning.
Oh, wait, is it missing all that stuff in front in the remake? Like, did they not design like the surrounding area, or is it just
no? I think the camera on the right is zoomed in with the lens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you can see it's closer to it than the other one. Okay, never mind.
Right. So here we go. This is what we got. And by the way, I'm sorry. I love the intro music here. It's like some of my favorite music in video games. It's so like daunting and ugh. But here we go.
It's great. Yeah.
You can see the difference between the explosions. How it seems like there's so much more depth in this explosion on the left compared to the explosion, on the right with the remaster. It's like these are like little things that that people look at and they over criticize, and it is what it is.
I think it's fair. Like, I don't think it's over criticizing at all. I think that's one of those, you got to get that right. It always needs to be better. So I saw that yesterday too, Craig, and I was just like, ugh, like, not only is it a darker overall camera, but it's like way worse of an explosion, and not just the fire, but the fumes. Like, it's all like black fumes in the remake, where the other one you can actually see through and see stuff happening. It's just, I don't know, it's stuff like that kind of bothers me.
Well, I think if you're a fan of it, if you're a fan of what's happening and the series itself, I mean, you have every right to be bothered by it. I think that's totally fair.
But this is coming from someone who's not a fan of. I have not played the original or the remake. I'm just looking at that from a totally external perspective, and I'm just like, yeah, I want to play the original when I see that.
Yeah. Well, that was a very long 2-minute review. Thank you, John. Appreciate
Sorry
that.
about that.
No. I took it way longer than 2, but I'm glad you're enjoying it for sure. All right.
I'm not gonna, real quick, Craig, I'm not gonna give a 2-minute review here, but I started playing SteamWorld Heist 2 last night.
Oh yeah.
And it's a banger. If anyone out there has played the original SteamWorld Heist, it's a great follow-up. Loving it so far.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. See, people hear us talk about like the negative stuff all the time, but it is important to focus on the positives.
Oh yeah.
It's video games are great. Like we love games. It's a great hobby to have, right? And it's a great way to take your time off this stuff. But people are like, you only talk about the negative. No, we don't. No,
I'd argue we only talk about the negative in hopes to improving it. Like, that's genuinely what it is. Like, we have a great time with it. Let's make it better. I feel like that's the underlying perspective we all have with it. That might not always come through, but that's what my brain's thinking.
Yeah, I hear that for sure. All right, well, let's get to Today in Gaming History. After Tech Support Gaming came in with a 10, says Skies of Arcadia, greatest RPG ever. Gave you the airship experience throughout the majority of the game. Great characters, great story. Sega, give me back my Skies of Arcadia on modern hardware. Tech Support Gaming, thank you so much. Appreciate that greatly. Absolutely Ready came in before the show even started with a re-membership. Appreciate that. Norm came in, says, there are a lot of Dreamcast fans coming out of the woodwork lately. Where were they all during the Dreamcast launch? Happy Thursday.
It was expensive. Like, like I said, I set myself in debt for months back. $1,000.99 is what in today's money? Like $2,500. Like, it was a lot of money back then.
Well, hold on. The Dreamcast cost $199. What else did you buy?
No, it didn't.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it
Dreamcast. I thought it was $299.
No, $199.
No.
That's what
no way.
Yes, that's what it says on the internet.com. Yeah.
I don't believe that. I thought it was $299 or $399 plus tax. Are you sure it was $199?
I'm going based off of the two sources that Microsoft Bing.com has given me. So
I don't I will go with that. Okay, fine. Games were what, $50 back then?
$50-$60. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm trying to think of any like peripherals that were critical to it, but there weren't really. The only thing I had was a light gun, so I could play House of the Dead 2 on it.
They had the fishing rod.
The fishing rod, that's right.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
that's right. Well,
but no, even if it was $199 plus 3 games plus a second controller, the VMUs were like $50 too. Plus tax on everything. I mean, you're getting to $750, $800. Maybe $1,000 was exaggerating, but it was a lot. It was only $199 at launch, though. That's crazy cheap.
Those VMUs are pretty sophisticated, like little miniature Game Boys, and you could program little, like you could animate little cartoons yourself on them and load them onto it. It was fun.
I'm pretty sure somebody has come along and got Doom to play on their VMU somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, Worthy One came in, says, "You're the man, Smash. Thank you for what you're doing for the gaming community. Keep doing your thing, bro." There you go, Worthy One.
I'm just a normal man, just doing what I can, like we all are.
Jason came in and says, Techromancer for the Dreamcast is my favorite fighting game, and Skies of Arcadia is one of my favorite RPGs. Both need sequels and or remakes. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you, my man. Mercenary says, Dead Rising is a remake. It is censored. No sale. It says, I'm surprised the fighting game, the fighting collection was untouched. And Joey Bag of Donuts says, feel better, Blabs. Hail, boys. Thank you very much. And Copeside Phil says, learning the law on X is a great comparison of the remaster. Everything is worse. It's a total downgrade every single way.
Wow.
Go play the 360 version.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to remake a game, like, you better have a lot of heart and passion to put into it. You can't just do it as a cash grab. People are too wise to that these days. If anything, it's going to be worse for like the money going into it for what you make out of it. You got to really, really, really put your heart into it. But even if you do, I mean, you got Lollipop Chainsaw Repop that looks to be not selling crazy good. And it's like, how much money did Suda51 put into that? So,
Yeah, that's an interesting one, the Lollipop Chainsaw side of it, because it sold 1 million copies when it first came out, and but I don't think it goes back to, they always say, well, the marketing wasn't very good. I don't think the marketing was good for this game either. I didn't even know it happened. It was coming out, so just kind of popped up, and there we go. So, what
the marketing is, Craig?
What's that
these days for gaming? It's not how much you pay to get a TV spot or a poster or a billboard. It's word of mouth is 99.9% in gaming. Like, it literally, you don't need ads to sell. You just need friends you just need to get people to talk about it. I think that's why YouTube has turned into such a major outlet for it. But yet all these game companies seem to hate YouTubers. It's a very weird dynamic.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, there was the whole thing about Star Wars, and there was this tweet about how Disney's listening to all the mean YouTubers about Star Wars and blah 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 blah. It's like, if gaming was smart, they'd be listening to all the YouTubers. They guess what? IGN is void. Polygon, Kotaku, they're void. Like, they don't.
But you're forgetting, Craig, the people at these developers and these game companies are all in bed with all the people at these IGNs and Kotakus. They're all buddy behind the scenes. They all go to the same conferences. They all go to the same award show. They all rub elbows with each other. And they are in their own bubble, thinking that they still have some sort of pull. Oh, Blabs is there.
Blabs, I just popped Blabs in the corner there. There you go. Just because she looks so sad. Figured we do a little.
I feel like she's just silently judging me right now.
At all times. There's sick Blabs in the corner. I thought it'd be fun. But
with broadcast hardware and software becoming popularized, like, independent journalism is skyrocketing. Everybody can broadcast from the bedrooms, and these large organizations like IGN are becoming increasingly irrelevant. That's just the way it's going.
Yep.
But don't tell them. Don't tell them that.
No, but you're right. It goes back to the access media side of it, right? Like, it always comes down to access. And
well, according to Ash Parrish, they are the trustworthy people. They are the tentpole that you need to be listening to, Craig.
Yeah, 1,000%. I wholeheartedly disagree. But Ash Parrish is part of the problem, right? She's part of the access media, and I don't know. Like I said, I've been on that side of this before. I've seen the access side, and I've seen the outcast side. And you know what? I prefer the outcast side. Very much so. You can be a lot more honest about things, and in a world that's built around authenticity, I would much rather be on this side of things for sure. So, Mercenary came in with the 2, says, I got a Dreamcast with games for $2.99. Smash, did you harvest any organs to pay for your Dreamcast?
No, I remember I worked very hard back then. I was working construction for my dad's company, and I was making decent money back then. But it felt like weeks and weeks of work just to be able to afford that. And I thought about the manual labor that went into what I got out of it. And I was like, offset. I was like, was it worth it? No, it wasn't.
Right. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. You missed a great console.
No. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was so much money back then. It was so much money.
I hear that. Well, we're going to get into another console. It's a whole lot of money right now with coming up in just a little bit with the PlayStation 5. But yesterday I missed a couple donations, and I want to make sure I get to them. God damn it, I Want a Name came in with the $25 direct donation yesterday. It says, Anita, together with Zoe Quinn and Dev's favorite masturbation aid, Brianna Wu, were some of the real OG grievance politics grifters in gaming. Everything out of their mouth was, is, and will always be self-serving lie to get relevance and money. Thank you very much. Hopefully you find that name soon. Sorry I missed that yesterday. John came in at the tail end of the show, so just got to the stream and just wanted to show my support. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. And then, God damn it, I Want a Name came in. Says, catching up with Super Chats and locals, you completely skipped over Streamlabs donations yesterday. Shame on you, Craig. I know, I'm sorry. God damn it, I Want a Name. But thank you for that support today. Abdulio came in, says, it is strange how Capcom calls the new Dead Rising a remaster, because they said that the game was rebuilt from scratch on the RE engine. That's not a remaster. That's a full-on remake. Marketing.
If it is built from scratch, it plays remarkably similar to the original with just a bunch of quality of life improvements.
Excellent.
And Craig, real quick,
Yes, sir.
someone with a Japanese name, I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I have no idea how, just said, so much money. Meanwhile, a PlayStation 2 was $249 and had no games for the first year, LOL. And I just wanted to retort that one real quick because I got PS2 on day one as well. I was outside in the cold in Maine in the snow, waiting for Walmart to open for 3 hours, freezing my ass off. And I got my PlayStation 2 with SSX Tricky, I think, was one of the launch games, which is awesome. And a couple others that I don't really remember because they were kind of forgettable. But the reason why I justified PS2 is the DVD drive. Like, that was the whole thing, was like, I always wanted a DVD player, and it's the next Sony PlayStation. So I could justify the $50 more over the Dreamcast more than that. But anyway, go on. Sorry. I just had to get that.
All good. All good. Well, cool. Hey, you know, it's also all good. Ian came in with 10 gifted memberships. That is spectacular. Ian, thank you very much for that support. I'll be Blabs here. Thank you for that, Ian. Appreciate that. If you guys got gifted membership, make sure you say a thank you. Consider paying it forward. Really appreciate that, Ian. Adam also came in and says, hail friends, with all the talk of Lollipop Chainsaw and Dead Rising got me thinking, what game from that era would you like to see out on modern systems? For me, it's the Splatterhouse reboot. Ooh, that's an interesting one. The Splatterhouse reboot. Did you guys ever play that back in the day on the 360 or PlayStation 3, whichever that was released?
No.
No. It was okay. It wasn't great. It was what you would expect from a remake in like the early 2010s, you know, of a classic thing. You know, it had that three-dimensional vibe to it and such. That's a good question from that era.
Was it anything like Manhunt, like sort of gory? Like,
it was super gory. Yeah. Someone would totally.
Yeah, that was one of those games when it first came out that there was quite the hubbub. I think my parents did not want me playing it because it was just so violent. But it was just because, again, word of mouth. They're like, oh, don't let their kids play these games. There's blood and stuff.
No, 100%. And I think that if I recall correctly, I believe Splatterhouse was the first game to have an actual rating on it before the ESRB. I believe it had on its box cover. I think that might be a little fun fact of nugget that I got in the background of my head. All right, let's move on. Let's go to today in gaming history. Blabs is not here, so I'll be giving you a rundown.
Blabs is right there.
Oh yeah, she's just hanging out in the corner. Well, she's sick, but now she's not. Today in gaming history, Blabs put down Ghost and Goblins.
Oh, banger.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest games ever. Duke Nukem Land of the Babes. Was that an iPhone title or something? I don't even know what that is. And Liza P came out last year, which obviously a lot of people were into that game. Unfortunately, Blabs missed some pretty big bangers today, including for the PlayStation 2.
Don't care.
Gay! Do that.
You are racist.
You're white. Oh. I'm gonna boot you, Blabs. She's not even on the show.
Shut up, bitch.
Okay.
Blabs is having too much fun on that meme board.
No joke, Blabs. Just relax. Okay, so just
She doesn't have a voice, but she has a voice in memes.
No joke.
Full on conversation with memes.
Games she missed include Okami for the PlayStation 2. It's kind of a big one right there. King of Fighters 2006, also a miss right there. And I think that was the big ones. Planet of the Apes on the PC, big deal. Bomberman Party Edition for the PlayStation. But, for the big one was Okami for sure. There was a Shantae game released for the iPhone back in the day. But also Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Remember that game?
I don't think I played that one.
No, it kind of came and went. And,
I remember it. Yeah, I can't remember what it was for. Was it on consoles?
Yes, it was a console release game, and it was panned pretty well. I think it was after MVC3 came out. And MVC, it was like, it was definitely the lowest rated Marvel vs. Capcom game. David says, here's a game to recommend. Penny's Big Breakaway. The game was made by the devs of Sonic Mania. Have you guys played it? If not, can you do a review of the game? David, that's the second time that game has been brought up in multiple days, and it does look very good. That Penny's Big Breakaway. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like a 3D platformer.
That was the one that same day dropped during the direct that everyone was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Tomac came in with the 20. Says it would be nice if the darkness was freed from the PlayStation 3. The darkness was freed from the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. I do seem to remember that Night Dive said they wanted to make a port of it. Thanks, Tomac. Appreciate that. The darkness from back in the day. Once again, we do every super chat, Rumble rant, and Director Nation. We'll read every single one of them throughout the show. But we've dilly-dallied around a lot today, so let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It is time for Hard News.
Hard News.
In the interest of time, I have cut a few things off our run sheet, and we'll just kind of move right into some. I actually had this tweet out yesterday, and I know that you've talked about obviously Sweet Baby Inc. games quite at length, Smash. But there was one that's kind of been put. I wouldn't say it's been under the radar, but I think it's more or less shoved itself under the radar through association.
Oh, it's under the radar.
Yeah. Unknown 9 Awakening. John, have you heard of this game at all?
No.
Okay, and nor has anybody else. This is a game that has been linked to Sweet Baby Inc. over the last little bit. Hold on, let me get you out of the way there. I want to make sure we get Blabs out of the way. Damn it, Blabs, you're on the way all the way. There we go. Sorry, Smash. But yes, here's Unknown 9 Awakening. It's a game that is tied to Sweet Baby Inc. It comes out in less than a month, and this is a you can kind of see what's going on here. You are Haruna, a Quaestor born with the ability to venture into mysterious dimension, the Fold. A quest for a hidden powerful knowledge. She must learn to master the powers of the Fold to fight a secret society with a hostile agenda.
And you better respect her gender and pronouns and ethnicity and whatever else the game is going to try to teach you along the way too, I bet.
Right. Now, this right here, this is actually, I thought this was kind of an interesting mechanic. The idea in the gameplay that you can kind of go in and take over people and cause them to do things. On the surface, like, okay, that's pretty neat. But so far,
so it's Mario Odyssey.
Right, yeah, right, 100%. But the response to this has not been very good. I have my insider, my retailer insider, who reached out to me, and they kind of keep me updated on how the pre-sales are going and stuff. And my insider came out with information about this game, and they said in their 900 stores, they've seen a total of 42 total pre-orders. That is between the Xbox and PlayStation. To put that in perspective, that is 1/5 as many as Concord got back in the day. And this game's coming out next month. And we're going to have, Craig? We're going to have another episode of Craig going to the store to pick up all the copies before they're gone. And they're going to be worth a lot of money. 100%. You wonder if that game will see a review from IGN and if they'll give it a 7 or not. But this is just one of those games. I wonder if the marketing of this has been non-existent or bad, or if this is just more of gamers being like, yeah, okay, it's there's 400,000 people that are a part of the Steam group for SBI detected or DEI detected now, and you wonder like if this is them voting with their wallet or if there's something.
I think it's just a lack of knowledge. Like, I'm just looking from my own perspective, someone who deals with this on a seems like hourly basis in my life these days. I didn't know anything about this, and I'm like knee deep in this stuff. And when this comes out, I'm like, if I didn't know about it or hear about it until right now, how would anyone? You know?
Right. That's a good question. And John, you said you've never even heard of this game before, huh?
No. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Well, it sounds like it's going to come and go like a fart in the wind. So
but you know what it might have been, Craig? Is SBI is getting such bad blowback that maybe they purposefully kept it under the radar, didn't want to promote it, didn't want to talk about it, the entire development, hoping that the SBI thing would just be kind of a bump and then it would kind of go away, and then this game could come out and not have the fanfare of people attacking it. But the SBI thing, if anything, has just grown and grown and gotten bigger and bigger and bigger as time's gone on, and the complete opposite of what Bandai Namco probably wanted to see. But I'm assuming that's what transpired here.
I'd have a hard time thinking that they just don't want to promote a game, because obviously there's a lot of time, energy, and resources that have been put into this, right? But at the same time,
no, I'm not saying they don't want to promote it. I'm saying they want to be smart about how they promote it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, they're obviously not being very smart because nobody knows it exists. So maybe there's going to be some big lead up over the next 4 weeks leading up to launch of the game. I said, I don't even remember what the name was. The game was called Awaken 9. Like, and by the way, the name is really, really dumb. Like it's
really bad
name. No idea what it means or anything like that. So
I think promotion on their end is tricky, because if they promote it according to what they consider the perks of it, they're going to end up turning a bunch of people off. So it's just like, what angle do they take?
Yeah,
in advertising, right?
Good point.
Right. Thanks, Gear, for that. Let's go ahead and move on. We had this announced about 30 minutes before the show started. That is the 30th anniversary PlayStation celebration. Let's check it out, gentlemen. Have you guys seen this? Have you seen the PlayStation 5 console? Who said that? I'm sorry.
I said I have not. I've not seen this.
Okay, so here we go. The 30th anniversary. We got the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, dual SIM controller.
Is this a Pro or the regular one?
They have a regular and a Pro. The regular is here on the right. The Pro is here on the left.
I see. Yeah.
They're only selling 12,300 copies of the Pro. They're all individually numbered. So, and obviously it has a very retro style, 90s style, which I think most people, are pretty, they're very in tune with. They love the idea of this. There's a very deep nostalgia. This is the Pro version. Associated with it. You can kind of see the original coloring.
It's starting to lose you again,
got
Craig.
Robot Craig.
You're going in and out, Craig. Sorry.
Hello there.
What the hell's going on here?
Connection thing.
You're good now. You're good now.
You're back, yeah.
Okay. What the hell's going on here, internet?
I was just gonna say, like, I hate to say this, but I love the design. I think it's awesome.
Oh, they should all look like that, man.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's good.
I agree.
I'm all about the really. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, fire away. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm all about the nostalgia for the OG PlayStation. I know it's boring as hell with the gray and then the darker shaded gray, but then the pop of the PS logo with the colors on. I think it's very it's a classic. It's a cultured look. I like it. Like I have no intention of getting a PS Pro, but if I did, it would be that one.
I like the look of it for sure. And I'll tell you, I'm going to bounce really quick while I'll bounce in just a second if I'm caught up, and I'm going to refresh so I can. It sounds like I'm on delay, but you can see kind of the look. There's some additional pictures of it, It looks really nice. Looks really sharp. Is this enough for you to go out and pick one up?
Well, wait,
Fuck
hold
no.
on. What's the? Oh, that's cool. The memory card USB. That's cool. Or the
I want
controller
s-
USB. Sorry.
I want some games if I'm gonna pick that up, man.
Yeah,
What are those things on the left?
games.
No.
Oh, these
what
right
are those
here?
colored things? Yeah. What is that?
Cord wrappers.
Oh,
can
okay.
Wrap
Yeah,
your
yeah,
cables in them. Yep.
And that's a PlayStation pin, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this is the print of the logo. So yeah, they're cable ties. It's a sticker. So right there. So and you get a limited edition PlayStation poster, one of 30 possible designs, and a PlayStation paperclip. So here's the paper.
Wow,
clip, right?
paperclip, you guys.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations.
Sold.
That paperclip's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna knock that. That's unique.
Yeah, it's not cool for the price that you have
Well,
to
I
pay
mean,
for
Yeah.
if it's
everything.
an additional, you have to buy it individually. I thought
No, but
it
it comes with it. But like the price of the console with no games, it's like
Oh, what? That's a
Well,
good
no.
question. That's a good
that was
question.
me now.
What is the price?
Okay, so let me share my screen. I'm currently dying chat, so apologies. Okay, so at the very bottom it said how many there were. Okay, so available November 21st to 12,300 units, and I think it's just the normal price, isn't it, Craig?
I believe so. I don't think they mentioned anything about the actual price itself. I didn't see anything in the article or in their any of their videos or anything like that. Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm assuming it's gonna be like the same price. It's just limited edition.
I know a lot of people are going to run out and they're gonna be like, "Oh, there's only 12,300 units of this," but like that's like, oh, it's rare. It's not rare, guys. Like you have 12,000 of anything. That's not rare. So don't get like the FOMO to go out and buy a PlayStation Pro because it's gray.
That's a half the amount of reported Concords sold.
Actually, you know what I'm really interested in though? Like the posters and like the things that you get with it. So like the paperclip too, but I'm genuinely curious how it's gonna do when people buy these and resell them on eBay. I think the collector in me is very curious to see the prices and the scalping that will be going on, because there's limited edition poster that you get with the purchase, but there's one of 30 possible designs. So you have to collect all 30 if you want the whole set. And that's why I'm like, interesting.
I do wonder about that. That's a good question. I feel like if it was like one of like 10 poster designs, I think they'd almost be worth more because there'd be more people in the market to collect them all. But 30 is a lot of posters.
Exactly. And you gotta wonder how much they're gonna price those on eBay for.
Not to mention how much wall space does someone have? Like if you wanted to collect them all, that would be, you need a mansion for each one on the hallway.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a bounce.
Well, that's coming out. I haven't seen any. Thank you, Blabs. Appreciate that. I don't think they put any release. Oh, November 21st is the release date for this. So right in time
When
for
does
Christmas.
PS5 Pro come out itself? The regular one. that the same day?
I would guess probably around the same time. Yeah, for sure. So
That's probably gonna be confusing for some customers to go to the store and see two different ones. Be like, wait, which one's which?
you're asking me questions I don't have answers to. Smack. What are you doing?
If only we had this internet thing.
Yes, I know, it's crazy. Hey, Marco Reality came into the tent, says, "Congratulations on your guest. I love Smash JT, but what's wrong with Blabs? Did she dye her hair and beard blonde? Blonde?" Reality, appreciate that. No,
Actually, I
guys-
dyed my beard ginger, okay? And it looks terrible, so I'm hiding.
That
Blabs,
skit
can't
was
tell-
epic, by the way.
Thank you, appreciate it. Well, you're going to see more of the modern audience very soon. Blabs, I can't keep telling people you're sick if you just keep popping in. I'll tell you right now. Okay. All right.
But I am. I'm dying.
I know, Blabs. Poor girl. All right. Let's go and move on. Okay, so we have not talked about this yet, but it's something that I do feel like it's very important to talk about, and that is the Space Marine 2 CEO situation. Now, I think the best way to kind of talk about this is actually have Asmongold talk about it himself. Let's play this about the 90-second video of Asmongold talking about the situation, then we'll kind of tie into the rest of it.
CEO of Saber Interactive comments on Space Marine 2 reaction video. Which video is this? Is this on one of my videos? Yes. God damn. He actually posted this. Hey man, CEO of Saber here. When we signed a deal to make Space Marines 2, all I wanted was a throwback game. We had the chance to work on something which by its nature was old school. I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play nowadays. They're too complex and too much of an investment. We worked on Halo back in the day, and that game could be distilled down to the simplest of shooting loop, but it was entirely addicting. As somebody who spent 10,000 hours on Halo and Halo 2, and probably only about 1,000 hours on Halo 3, at that point I was already addicted to WoW, I can absolutely fucking agree with this. That's what we wanted to recapture. I hope games like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a revision to the timeline where games are simply about fun and immersion. I spent some time as COO at Embracer. Oh boy, Embracer, that's short for Death's Embrace. And I saw games that are made that made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. We just want to do some gory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, this is what games should be about. Well, I think that's what everybody thinks games should be about, to be honest. The only people that disagree are a few people that are activists that are trying to push things, you know? But yeah, this is nuts. I really fucking appreciate it. Love your videos. Fuck yeah. How about that, guys? Shoot them? There's no reason to. They're not going to come up the top. I think it's just cinematic. I'm fighting for my fucking life here, boys. Yep.
All right. So, so that came out, and it was like, whoa, the Saber CEO was like, did he really say it? There's been controversy. No, it's just a YouTube comment. How can we authenticate that this is the Saber CEO? And some of like IGN reached out to the company, and they're like,
I thought it was Kotaku. Ethan Gotch from Kotaku, and then IGN was reporting on Kotaku's reaching out, from what I understood.
Okay. Well, there was talk about did he say it, and the idea of like what that message is like it's obviously incredibly based and incredibly, I don't know, not current day. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not current day. It's the way that people have thought about video games pretty much up until the last few years or so. And the idea that this is like a controversial statement is like, look, we want to make a fun game where you murder things and there's lots of blood and it's, people enjoy it. So like without imposing any sort of morals or anything like that into it. That seems like the most basic statement in the world. But that was somehow met with controversy. And it's like, so they reached out to Saber Interactive, and they're like, they had no comment on it. And why would they? They're not the ones who are like, making the comment. But so it kind of went back and forth. And there was this article from IGN over here. Saber Interactive won't say whether or not a controversial YouTube comment is from its CEO.
Oh, did you hear about this, by the way? That they changed it when you click on it. They changed the title. They removed controversial. Click on it and follow through.
From this article itself.
Yeah, put it back on the big screen.
Okay, yeah. Here we go. This is the actual article itself.
Yeah, it doesn't say controversial now.
Ah, there we go. Yes, because it's dumb. Like, why would you put controversial?
Everyone was calling them out, being like, the only people that think it's controversial is these DEI agents that are looking for a controversy. There's nothing controversial about it. So they quietly, subtly removed that word from it. I thought that was interesting.
John, what you
There's nothing in the comment that's controversial or offensive, and I think it's worth looking into, like to see to make sure it's the actual guy. But the way it's written, it just seems immediately believable that it was. I believe that it's him based on like the sort of substance of it. It seems like it's authentically written from the perspective of somebody who worked on that game and other games. And I'm just like, if it wasn't him, why would they do this? Like,
but is the other thing too, and this kind of exposes the upper echelon gaming industry right here, is normal people, normal men playing this game and seeing that comment are like, yeah, that resonates with me. Cool. I want to play this game. Thank you for understanding what we want as gamers. And you would think if it would be like an aberration if it was like a single outlet that was like, hey, I'm taking issue with this because I'm a random person. I'm Ethan Gotch over at Kotaku, and I'm mad because this is anti-DEI. It's slanderous towards DEI. It's bad. It's bad. We need to find something with this. But it's not just Kotaku. IGN also reporting it, among other outlets as well, trying to stir up and create a controversy out of something that is clearly not a controversy. And this is like a perfect example of what they do to manipulate a situation. We can all point to this and be like, there you go. That's here. We've been preaching it. Here's what we're talking about. This is what they do. That's really all.
Well, I think you nailed it right there, 100%. And so there's been a lot of talk of like, well, was this controversial statement his or not? And well, it turns out pretty much is. This was he talked about it over on his LinkedIn. The guy, I mean, this was a saga for like 3 days, and like people were, did this guy say it? Did he not say it? It was really stupid and over the top. Like, and if he did say it, like, it's his fucking company. Let him say he's a CEO.
Even if he didn't say it, digging any deeper into the surface, just going past surface level, it really doesn't take much research. I actually did a video on this, just exposing just how pathetic the attempt at journalism was by them, as they were looking for a gotcha moment so hard that they actually like embarrassed themselves. If you look on Asmongold's comment section, there's another comment from another person from Saber Interactive, a lead writer, that if you click on his profile, it goes to his profile with his personal videos of motion capture from Halo and everything back in the day. Like it is him. It's verified. That's definitely him. So why would they nitpick and be like, oh, is this him or is it not? It may not be him. We need to expose it. It's like, well, if it's not him, wouldn't you think the writer, who is clearly the writer, would say something about that, like commenting after him, but not being with him? You don't think these people talk behind the scenes, that they're following this stuff? Like, it's just really bad journalism. It's just really bad. I'm trying to be as nice as possible. Like, it's just bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's not journalism at all, right? Like, I am not a journalist. I've said that many times. I'm not a journalist. I can put my journalist hat on, right? And I'll do the extra work that a journalist would do, but I am not a journalist by any means, right? But this is like bare basic stuff. And I think this goes back to, I heard somebody talking about this. Actually, man, I want to say it was Sargon back in the day, speaking of like the original Gamergate, and the idea that the idea of the original Gamergate was tied to lack of ethics in journalism, right? And
as much as the journalists would try to change that topic and make it not that, that's what it was. But yeah.
Right. But at the same time, the idea that a lot of these quote unquote journalists in the video game journalism sphere, they don't have degrees in journalism. They're bloggers. That's why you call them bloggers. That they write on a blog that they're paid to do. They don't do the work. They like, the idea of being a journalist is you go in and you're supposed to look at things evenly, right? Without an agenda, but we all know that's not in reality in 2024. And you do the legwork. You do the legwork that the common person, the common man, the normal man shouldn't have to do. That is your job.
And you don't leave out vital details that expose destroying the argument narrative you're trying to make. You give the whole story. And then you can spin it like, here's what I feel based off of all the information. But what we're seeing is they are purposefully leaving out vital information to skew a conversation in their direction. And that is the epicenter of everyone's frustrations. And they won't admit it. Like, that's literally what the problem is. If they would just cover the story the right way with giving people the information, it's one of those, like, fine, I'll do it myself. That's why I started my website, because they weren't doing it. I told you this in the pre-show. Like, I never wanted to be a journalist, nor do I consider myself a journalist. I'm just a guy that wants to get the truth out there to people and the information, and let people make up their own mind on a story, not try to dictate and narrate how people should think and feel on things.
I think regarding the motivation behind the headline, I mean, it's a combination of just the shallow desire for clicks, because if you put the word controversial in there, it's just like, what did he say? Oh my god, it must have been reprehensible. And then they click on it, and then, you know, even if they're like, oh, they still got the click, right? I mean, it's a short-term benefit. You can't do that forever. Eventually, people are going to go, oh, fuck off, dude. But also,
But that's
I think
the problem is they're
they
just trying to save their job for today right now. So that's
Right.
what it's perpetually just doing that over and over because they just need a paycheck for next week. They're not thinking long term at all.
That's a good point. And the other thing I wanted to say was the ideological motivation. Like, you have a bunch of people who are convinced that if you're going to make a game, you have an obligation to make a sort of moral or political statement or stance clear, when it's just like, so that when they see somebody say something like games should just be about fucking playing games and getting your heart rate up and just killing enemies, it's just like, what a wasted opportunity. You could have made a statement about this hot button issue. Like, why didn't you?
That's a great point. That's a really great point.
The idea of using my platform, like, number one, if you're making a game, it's not your platform, it's the company's platform. So you shouldn't be using the company to promote your ideas, right? That's a really,
that's actually real quick, Craig. That's a really good point you just hit on there. If these journos that are so confident in their professionalism are so good at what they do, why do they need Big Daddy Corporation to back them? Why can't they just do it on their own, like YouTubers?
Oh my God. Yeah, this has been 100%. The reality is that nobody at Kotaku, very few people at IGN, and if you were to look across the ecosphere of video game journalists, the reality is that 99% of them, if they went out and started a YouTube channel, they would be done in 3 months. It'd be too hard for them. They like having the coverage of somebody else paying them to spew propaganda, right? They would fail. If they went out on their own, they would fail immediately, 100%.
Yeah.
Unless there was a story behind it. The story being...
No, I would argue even if there is a story, because I've seen situations like, what was it? Was it not Nintendo Enthusiast? What's the Nintendo that just shut down the YouTube channel?
Right. I know what you're talking about. But what I mean by story is the story of somebody getting laid off, right? That's the story. So you have this sympathetic nature to it. It goes back to like Second Wind, right? Second Wind was escapist. Oh, look at us. We all got laid off, but we got this Patreon here, right? And the people flood all their money along the way.
Well, I would argue that's because people wanted to follow Yahtzee and they loved him.
Of course.
Whereas, like, you look at something else with what was it, Jake Steinberg or whatever, that got laid off before they closed shop at that Nintendo. Why can't I think of the name of it already?
Right.
And his YouTube channel just kind of floundered and flopped. Mm-hmm. And he had a story of, I was laid off. It was bad. And initially, I've actually felt bad for him before I knew who he was. I was like, oh.
Right. Yeah. And the idea that, like, look, I know the guys over at Kind of Funny, right? We got laid off from IGN, or we're taking the risk, right? And they saw the big explosion, and they kind of, that led the way for the story of pushing to the Patreon, right? And they, but I think it's very, very hard to. I think what you nailed on is 100% right. I don't think many of these people have the journalistic integrity. They don't have the charisma. They don't have the technical ability to be successful on YouTube or be successful by themselves.
And most importantly, the work ethic.
Yes,
I think people look at YouTubers like, oh, I can do that. Just talk to a camera about video games.
Right.
Like, okay, good luck. Go try. Tell me how that works out for you.
I think regarding ethics in journalism, the bare minimum is making a phone call and reaching out to people directly. And a lot of people, I mean, the more we become technologically infused as a society, people become more socially awkward and less confident in themselves. And they get an anxiety attack if they make a phone call or if their phone rings. So they'd rather just scroll through Twitter and just retweet whatever anybody else is saying. And so you just have all this bottom feeding going on instead of actual getting to the bottom of an issue, Well,
I'd argue that they do make the phone calls, but they don't portray the story the way it should be after that phone call is made. Like,
that's true.
For example, what they're doing with this story where Ethan Gotch reached out to Saber and they're like, oh, they're not getting back to us, so let's use that as our narrative to attack them. Or like when Alyssa reached out to that Farm Folks CEO from Cryptivo, and he had the interview with her, and then she completely misrepresented him, and he was calling her out for it, and she got like angry at him, and then he displayed all the Discord messages about how she was lying about everything. Like, these people don't have the best intentions of the game industry in mind. They have a narrative and target they aim to hit at any cost. And that is, I think that's why gamers in general are really receptive to people just being honest about it, being like, what's going on here? Why are we letting this happen? This is not the game industry. We shouldn't just like lay by the wayside and let this happen and let it destroy itself. Like, I think you'd agree, Craig. We care too much about this to see it destroy itself.
Yeah, 100%. The video game industry has been too good for me, too good to me for so long that I don't want to see it go up in flames. I mean, it's not going to go up in flames, but the journalistic side of things is a mess, and it's a joke. But to kind of put a pin on this, I don't even know if I shared this earlier, but long and short of it was the CEO of Saber came out, Matthew, and was like, hey, he posted this over on his LinkedIn saying, whoever wrote that seems pretty sharp. So, after
the other thing, real quick, Craig, I covered this in a video before he posted that, but after he posted something else on LinkedIn that was 4 days ago. And that was my frustration with Ethan trying to reach out and get a gotcha moment. He's like, oh, this probably isn't him. It's a different account. This is his real account. It's like, if you actually investigated it, looked at this guy's LinkedIn, he said a very similar statement professionally on his LinkedIn about why the game industry is going the wrong direction. And if you compare the two statements, it's obvious it's the same guy that wrote it. Like, it's not like this is a different person trying to what do you call it? But pretend that he's him. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, what's amazing though is to kind of continue this idea of journalists. I've said this many times. There's such a disconnect in the video game industry, and I don't know if it's like this in other industries, but I can't imagine it's this vast. The disconnect between the developers of the games and the media, traditional access media, and the actual consumer of the game, Because when you look at this and you scroll down the comments of that post in IGN, they're like, yo, what's controversial about this, right? And when you scroll down the comments of the Asmongold video, and they're all just like, okay, I just want to make games fun. Whoa, that's a hot take in 2024, right? These are every single one of these comments is about that. Just like, hey man, just give us fun games. And that's really what it comes down to, is people just want to have fun when they play games. It's the idea is to disconnect from reality, not to be absorbed by reality.
But like you said earlier, the propagandists and agenda pushing activists have to have a narrative. They have to push an agenda. And they're confused because they're not in this industry for the right reasons. They're confused by gamers enjoying a game. That's not the purpose to them. The purpose is, what is the message here? And that is a very weird way to approach gaming.
Right. Well, for those who do want the message and do want all this, then you can go play Dustborn and be some of the 11 people who are playing that right now.
Did you hear?
Yeah,
that there was a moment last night. Did you hear about this?
There's only 0 people playing it.
0 people playing last night.
Well, that is your modern audience, right? I will, like, once again, look, go ahead. That can be your audience. I'll take this audience. I'll take all of this down here. I'll take all of this right here. How insane is this?
I also wouldn't be surprised if the people actually playing it right now are just hate playing it and streaming it and laughing at it or something.
Oh, they absolutely are. I can confirm that I know multiple people that are doing that. So I think those are the only people.
Siver came in. Look at this. Says with the $50 super chat, massive. Says you have to understand everything must be done to push the glorious revolution. Everything must be steered towards the revolution. Every topic, every hobby, every event, push towards the glorious Marxist, socialist, social justice, communist revolution.
Craig,
no.
before because I'm not that political. I'm really
Yeah,
not.
I know.
And before I like really engulfed myself in this whole situation, I was like, there's no way it boils down to something that simplistic. And the more I'm in it, I'm like, nope, that's really all it is. That's what they're pushing. It's really not that complicated.
That's the most
I think that
Go ahead,
that is the I think that is the bedrock of it. Is you got communism at the bottom, right? And then how do you get communism being the sort of the stateless utopian society, and then you have socialism as a vehicle to get there. And so how do you achieve socialism? Well, you have something like Marxism, where it's basically socialism plus class warfare, right? Bourgeoisie versus proletariat, oppressor versus oppressed. And then you have neo-Marxism on top of that, which sort of expands upon the oppressor-oppressed narrative, where instead of just class, it's about race, it's about gender, sexuality, wherever you can draw lines between people in order to sow division, in order to kickstart the revolution, because that's what these people want. It's like you've heard it time and time again on your own show. Like, the issue is never the issue. It's about starting the revolution, and it's it really does come down to that. And so that's where DEI comes from, right? It's just this idea that everything needs to be equal among the races, and just convincing people that these people hate you and you should hate them, and it's just sowing division where there's no place for it.
I think that's probably one of the most fascinating things about all this. Smash, like I'm not like a political person, right? Like, I'm not a political person either. Like, I've never been a political person. But the thing is, if you say you're not political, those who are insanely political will be like, you get all the racist, you're homophobic, you're whatever, right? And you get labeled all these things, and you're like, what the fuck? What happened to me? What? And
or you clearly just love Trump. If you're not political, you must love Trump. Like that, they always go to that one. Like,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
And these are not new ideas. These are old ass ideas that just keep resurfacing over and over again. They haven't gone anywhere. They just keep manifesting in new ways. And now it's in the game industry, and everybody's fucking had enough of it.
It's a mind virus. It's insidious. It's trying to find a crack in the concrete to seep in and open it up. Like, and when it hits a wall, it's just going to keep flowing and looking for something else to seep into. It's kind of like a video game in a way.
Right.
The Pally Dan came in and says, when I was a journalist at a small town paper, my editor tried to get me to make up an anonymous sources to create a controversy when there was none. That was on Friday. I put my notice in on Monday. Good for you, Pally Dan. Good for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's fucked up. One time, Bandcamp says, when we point out wokeness in games, wokies say we're making it up. When CEO says they were pressured into imposing morals, that's called controversial. Isn't that admitting to what we accuse them of? One time at Bandcamp. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Norm says, Norm Al Game Dev says, I just want to make fun of game Gretel Thunberg. How dare you? That's right. There you go. Thank you. Oh, sorry. That the way that's written is confusing to me. Yes, right. I just want to have make a fun game. How dare you? Yes, thank you, Norm. Appreciate that. Old Man Grim. Hey, appreciate you, buddy. Says, Hail Side Scroller. Speaking of mediocre journalists, who's excited to see what shitty tweets Asylum Mercante posts once she gets to TwitchCon? I don't follow her life. I don't follow her. I don't really care what she does.
That's like literally that clip you always play, that I don't care.
I don't care.
Uriah, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Also,
and shout out Old Man Grim, by the way. Awesome, yeah. Awesome follow on Twitter. He's on stuff. He's good.
great over on X. You're doing a great job. Mark says, I get the feeling that most of these quote unquote game journalists don't even play the games that they journal. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. That's good. Suna Soul Silver says, politics as a personality is a bigger turnoff than someone that plays video games. Going back to that thing from a couple weeks ago. All right, good stuff. And Mark came in and says, in my defense, Blabs wasn't there. Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate that. All right, let's go and move on to this other story. Let's go to the just amazing website quite possibly the beacon of video game journalism. SmashJT.com for here.
I didn't know I was getting featured on this episode of Side Scrollers.
Look at you. GDC advisor Marina Diaz says, fuck white men and gatekeeper. Now, Smash, I'm going to let you lead us through this story here. Who is Marina Diaz, and why is she so broken?
I can't answer the second part of that. I'd imagine it's something in her personal life. Actually, one of the things I saw was she did do an interview about her growing up and how her dad was really horrible with her. And so I'm thinking there's a lot of buried anger and hatred in her life from that.
I'm just going to put this out right now, really quick.
Go ahead.
I would love to see the Venn diagram of game journalists and game industry folks and people with daddy issues, right? And to see how much that Venn diagram crosses, right? And there you go. There's your issue right there. You know,
it's not a Venn diagram if it's one circle, Craig.
Yeah. Right. Just looks like this. It's right there. There it is. Right there. There. That's it. Everybody. Nice. All right. I'm sorry. Yes, Smash. Continue.
Okay. So just boringly reading from her website, Marina Diaz is a Spanish award-winning game designer and filmmaker in London, UK. She is the CEO of 3 of Cup Games, an ethical and diverse game studio based in London. She's also the principal game designer at BTF Games for the Berlin apartment. And it goes on and on and on. But a couple of things to take away from that is on a separate section of her website, which ironically, while I was editing my video yesterday, she took her website down. I thought that was curious. Yeah. So she already saw the heat coming. But on her website, she discussed how she's not a technical game designer, meaning she doesn't do programming, but she says she calls herself a principal game designer. And I'm like, okay, so she doesn't do the technical stuff. She doesn't do the programming, but she's a game designer. And it turns out that she's the consultant at her own game developer, where she has people that know how to program. And she's like the Homer Simpson over their shoulder, like, hey, can you guys work harder? And they're like, yes, sir, Mr. Simpson, we can work harder. And they just type faster. Like, that's my mental image of what she does there. Mm-hmm. But she has a lot of buried anger and hatred for the white man. And I think we were talking in the pre-show about this. Just a one-off would be, okay, maybe she was having a bad day. You know, maybe we all have that one tweet where we're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said it like that. Mm-hmm. The thing she says, I'm like, this is another level of psycho. Like, this is not normal. Okay, this stuff that comes out, and these are this is the scariest part, real quick. And I know you want to read through them, Craig.
Yeah.
She's followed by many prominent figures in the game industry, and they see what she writes, and they continue to follow her, not call her out, not say anything about it, and just hope that it just goes away and nobody notices it. And when it all comes to pass and the come home to roost, it's like crickets. No one in the industry is saying anything right now. It's like, where were you guys? This was red flag city with this one. And nobody stood up and said, hey, what you're saying is not cool. You shouldn't talk like that.
Right. And we're going to get into that in a little bit because I just don't understand this. But let's go get into what she actually said. It says, in a now deleted post on her now private, of course, Twitter, an advisor for the Game Developers Conference. By the way, it's the fucking Game Developers Conference. This is the biggest conference in the development of all video games. Happens once a year. It's massive. She's an advisor for this, right?
And this goes to what is the problem with DEI is you start involving people for the sole purpose of, oh, that's a Spanish girl, Spanish speaking, diverse. She's from another country. We need to accept her and her ideals because we need the diversity, because also it fits the same groupthink that we have too. But they're just allowing it just because she's diverse when she's unhinged as hell.
Well, you can see the tweet here. It says, I went from thinking I'm a shitty designer to consult and train teams at one of the biggest game companies in the world. Keep believing in yourself. Like all that, okay, fine, great. But then she has to go and fuck white men and gatekeepers.
I mean, that's a common theme we'll see as we go through these, where it's kind of like a weird thing to tweet, but whatever. And then she ends it with that every time. And it's like, why did you throw that in at the end? That's so weird.
Hey, John.
But real quick, though.
Yeah, well, the white people are seen as the oppressor. I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about. Like these people, these socialists, they can't help but look at fucking everything through power dynamics. That's all they see. Once you realize that about them, a lot of their thought process makes sense. I mean, it's stupid. But like once you sort of filter it through that, you're like, oh,
once
right.
you grasp that they're an activist and not a gamer, yeah, it makes sense. But sometimes you got to remind yourself, because it's not the way we logically think. So I'm constantly reminding myself, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, wait, no, they're an activist. They don't game. They don't care. It's I have to always remind myself, as obvious as it might sound. But the thing she said, Craig, if you don't mind bringing it back up on the full screen just real quick.
Yep.
I went from thinking I'm a shitty designer. She literally admits that she doesn't know how to code. So by nature, she's not even a designer. But if she was, she would be the shittiest one in the world because she doesn't know how to do it. And then she went on to doing something that doesn't involve coding. And she's like, look at me, I'm successful now because I'm doing this other thing that's not even a real job. But I found a crack in the concrete to seep into to push my activism and get paid by putting a gun to the head of these people saying, if you don't hire us, then you're a bigot. And that's like the whole narrative that has been working for, how long has it been now? A decade? Like, how long has this been going on, Craig?
Long enough to realize that this thing is a deep problem for sure. But she continues as we scroll down, says, by the way, she just wants to let you know, not all white men suck, but you know what I mean. Hey, John, I'm sorry. Elon has a message for you for Marina.
Go fuck yourself.
Sorry, John. You know what she means, though.
Yeah, well, she's signaling to other people who think like her. It's like, you know what we're talking about, right? The message, all that shit.
And like, here we continue as we go down. Growing my abs to crush nuts and obnoxious white men with them. The fuck? What is this? This is who hurt you, Maria? That's such a great line right there. Smash. Wonderful.
It's the only thing I could think of. I'm going through this stuff. I'm like, my goodness, this is someone is.
Yeah, well, if you look at everything as race, white people are the bad guys. If you look at everything through sex and gender, cis people are the bad guys. It's just,
don't say cis. Don't say that word. Don't say the fucking word. And then she added a few weeks later, of course, why white men over 40, for being somehow generous, are allergic to saying the word diversity. Well, I think most people just in general are against forced diversity, right? Mm-hmm. People want the best people for the job. So there's a larger question with all this, right? And we can talk about Three of Cups, her company, which who the fuck knows what they do? Who really cares, right? And them being the
games, by the way, I did look into it. The games look absolutely atrocious. I'm like, this is one of those. They're all. This is the other thing. Three of Cups. If you want to just real quick sidebar this, Three of Cups is one of those studios that seems to base its premise on depression and using depression as a crutch for people to give them approval. Like, oh, it's a game about depression and it helps you work through your depression. And it's like, okay, but it's still a really shitty game. But you can't say that because it's about depression. So you got to really cut them a break because it's about depression. Like, that's their whole angle with Three of Cups. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, I just wanted to.
Well, I mean, here are some of their games. Here, they have a game called Summer Gyms, which you can buy for €2.50, which comes out to about 6 cents. They also have.
Did you mean to have it on the big screen? Because it's not.
Oh yeah, I meant to. Sorry. There we go. Summer Gyms right there. Then we also have Cardamoncy Anthology, which with 13 reviews, has is you can buy for $24.99. I guess, you know, my thing with this is like, how does this company make money? And why is anybody listening to this lady ever? And how is she an advisor for the Game Developers Conference? And what does she advise? Right? And how come there's not somebody with a fucking balls in the video game industry to say, hey,
they don't want to be canceled.
that's
Craig.
racist.
That's the problem. It's a self. We're starting to lose you, Craig. But it's a self-fulfilling like situation that the game industry's created, where it's put this diversity pillar at the forefront, and it's allowed people that have these very racist, very sexist, aggressive, but because it fits the narrative, it's okay with them type standpoint, and it's run amok to the point where you can't call them out for it because the groupthink has accepted it. And if you start calling it out, then you are going to be excommunicated from what I would say is, by all counts, it's become a cult. And you cannot go against the greater good of what their push is for. And that's why someone like this gets to where they are, keeps failing upwards, because everyone's too afraid to say anything, because they don't want to be the one that becomes the outcast, because they see how the Mercantes and all these journalists, the Ash Parishes, treat people who dare question the message.
Yeah. Well, it's not really about, I mean, they say diversity. The reason it makes people angry is because a lot of people, normal men, as you would say, know that it's not really about, it's about diversity in terms of surface level immutable characteristics, not thought. And it's inclusion through exclusion. You can be a part of our club as long as you think the way we do. Otherwise, you're the enemy.
I don't understand why, like, how come Kotaku, how come IGN, how come Polygon, how come Rock, Paper, Shotgun, how come go down the list? How come they haven't gotten a hold of GDC and said, hey, how can you stand by this obvious racism and sexism by one of your advisors? How is this okay?
I said that at the end of my video covering this. Like, this exposes them for being on that side where they're totally fine with it. Like, why are they calling out the Saber Interactive CEO for a comment on Asmongold, but they're deafening silence on this actual real controversy? Like, this is a real situation that deserves coverage. This deserves the spotlight. And they are proactively ignoring it and looking to find controversy elsewhere, because the last thing they want to do is see their house of cards crumble.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make that phone call, and I'm going to make that phone call actually right now. Let's do it live. Because why not, right? Should we make this phone call right now and see what they have to say? Because the GDC does have now this is registration questions, but it is a phone number to call. Should I make this call right now as we're live and see what they have to say about one of their advisors being racist and sexist?
The chat definitely seems to want you to.
I'm on board. Go for it.
Okay, let's do it. All right, let's call GDC and see what happens. Now, don't get your hopes up. Something probably isn't going to happen, but I do think it's important that we they're
going to answer. They're going to be like, "Hello, this is Marina Diaz."
You're going to be like, Marina, why are you so racist? Okay. Why are you so sexist? It's ridiculous. All right, let's give them a call. I have their number pulled up. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, let's do it live. Here we go. We're calling the GDC.
Thank you for calling the customer service department for GDC. Please stay on the line for assistance. You may also email your question to gdcregistration@informa.com. Your call may be electronically monitored or recorded for training and quality assurance. For new or existing group or bulk registration inquiries, press 3. For everything else, please stay on the line.
Okay.
Yeah, Microsoft Sam sounds better than that.
Good morning, guys.
Well,
We're calling.
They must be really busy right now, Craig.
I know. Oh, they're watching the show.
Right.
All right, you guys just popping in. We're calling GDC to figure out why they stand by.
station. How can I help you?
Hey, good morning. My name is Craig Skistimus. I have a podcast called Side Scrollers. We're actually live right now. I wanted to reach out to somebody at GDC to see if they had a statement about one of the advisors, Marina Diaz, and her recent statements. Can you point me in that direction, please?
I'll give you one moment here. Let me pull up what I have. Bear with me for a few moments here.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. How's your day going?
I cannot complain at all. It's been a pretty smooth day for me, and in my personal life, I just got an approval for a new place that I'm moving into now.
Hey, congratulations.
I'm in a very good mood. Thank you.
Way to go, man.
That. About yourself?
Pretty good. You know, we're just hanging out, talking about all this insanity in the world, and you know, glad to be chatting with you this morning. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say, which is good stuff.
And I know I put this to the side somewhere here, but it's not where I thought it was going to be at. So let me place you on a brief hold. Reach out to one of my colleagues and just get the information directly from the horse's mouth of who I should be forwarding you to proceed with this. Okay?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Of course. Be right back with you.
Sure.
Ultra V said he's frantically typing in Slack channel.
Right. A severe lack of Kenny Loggins when it comes to their hold music. But listen, we got to figure out what's going on. I laid it out there. I told them we're live. I told them everything. So got to make sure I tell that to everybody. I don't want to appear sneaky by any means.
You need to move the phone away from the mic when it's the music. You can't hear
bring it back when it's not the music.
Yeah, it's loud.
Okay, thank you, Blabs.
I think what we're witnessing firsthand is a lot of these people that work like feet on the ground are very normal people, at least normal front facing.
Of course, like dude just got like. He's like, hey, I got a new place. Like he's happy. He's excited. Like F&A, great. You know, like this guy hasn't done anything wrong. He's just a dude. He's just doing his job. Like, why would I call and be all pissed off at him? You know?
I think it's like a lot of the people like this just flying over their head. They're not seeing the forest for the trees of what's actually happening. Yeah. And if they did see it, they're powerless to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I think it's important that we have these conversations, you know, and that you ask them, because who else is, you know, and if we're going to do it live, we do it live, you know, whatever. I can make a video out of this, but at the same time, I think it's very important that not only do you ask GDC about this, but you also ask their sponsors about this, right? You say, hey, why do you stand with this? Why do you stand with this blatant racism and sexism? I don't understand why you'd be okay with this. Epic Games, why are you okay with this? Microsoft, Pico, Tencent Games, why are you okay with these things? These are very important questions to ask. And I intend on asking them, because why not? I said, this could be sliced down, but I think it's important to put this together. And if we can do it live, we'll do it live. So, and this may be a little bit of a downtime, whatever, but that's okay. I'm sure that somebody is, you know, he's trying to figure out what's going on. He may be typing in Slack, like you said, but we got to see the process. We got to see it through. So there we go. Get on it. There we go. Suna, thank you very much. By the way, I'm trying to talk and listen at the same time while also read super chats. But what else do you have here when it comes to this Smash? You got any other thoughts on this? What about you, John?
You got anything, Smash?
I mean, that's basically, I think I got it all out of me. I'm sure I can keep talking if you got nothing to say. I thought it was interesting how the Three of Cups game studio has a quote unquote game dev manifesto. Craig, do you have the phone on mute in case it comes back? because I don't want them
Yeah,
hearing my voice.
it isn't.
Okay.
Oh no, they can't hear you. They can't hear you at all.
Okay. Oh yeah, you got me in the headphones. Okay. So the Game Dev Manifesto talks about how they believe in diversity and inclusivity, and how they think games can be used as a powerful tool for social change. And on her own website, before she took it down, she was a self-admitted activist. She called herself an activist. And I find it fascinating that they are not bashful and saying that they want to use games to enact social change, which is flying completely in the face of gamers and what gamers want games to be. And gamers should and always will take that as a slap in the face. Yet they're doing it and trying to point the finger at gamers and call the gamers the bigots for not accepting a game company making games for social change.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about pushing the message, right? I mean, and like you were saying, Craig, we should be asking these questions. The thing is that it's an indefensible position they're holding. Like one of the things that characterizes socialist Marxists is that they don't believe in objective truth. You try and have a logical conversation with these people, they can't do it. So they pull whatever out of their ass. Oh, I think I left the oven on,
Well,
run off.
That's a good point, because I've noticed a trend in people that have that belief mindset that are always pushing for the removal of truth and trying to remove facts and trying to. Oh, they say something.
Hello?
Hey, sorry about the wait.
No worries, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm still here pulling everything up on my side. So two things. If I are conscious that you said you were live, so I'm assuming that you are currently busy. If it makes more sense for you, to save time, I would say you can send this to us in the form of an email, and then we can make sure that email gets to the correct party. Alternatively, if you want to continue waiting, then it should be just a couple more minutes for me to get to. I need to get to in order to find out. But what's going to end up happening is your request for comment would have to go to another email. So what I'm doing right now on my side is pulling through who the proper party is for you to submit that email for request for comment.
Yeah, my concern about submitting. Yeah, and I appreciate that. My concern about that is if you submit an email, like that email can be easily ignored, and I'd rather just talk to somebody, directly about it and actually have a conversation, because oftentimes statements can be very sterile and boring, and I think it's important to hear directly from the horse's mouth, your thoughts on this. So. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I'll gladly wait as long as I need to talk to somebody.
Now, so for clarification, what you're waiting for isn't for me to get someone on the line for you to speak with. I'll be frank with you. There's not a way for me to get you over to someone else. We're the only part of the company that has a line of business, meaning that anyone else within the company does not have a phone. There's no department I can transfer you to or anything like that. Anytime that someone else within the company uses a phone, I believe that they use their work cell phone. So unfortunately, you would end up having, or even to have a conversation with that individual and organize that, you have to have that would start with an email conversation between you and the other party to determine, hey, we can speak this day, this time. Here's the number I'll call you at, or this number you can call me at. That kind of conversation will have to occur via email. It's not going to be someone that I can forward you to or anything like that.
Okay. Well, then I'll tell you who specifically are you looking to forward me to?
Well, that's what I'm looking for now, is to confirm the name of the individual that you would be speaking with. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I call this number, will I reach you directly?
So the number that you're calling here is not my personal number. So I am part of a team, part of a larger team, but I am around working. So
sure. What was your name, sir, again?
My name is Mike.
Mike. All right, Mike. Awesome. Well, I'm Craig. I'll tell you what, Mike. If I call this number back, I don't know, in 30 minutes, an hour, can I ask for you directly and then come back so we can continue the conversation and you can put me in touch with whoever I need to be in touch with?
Yeah, sure.
All right, that sounds good. All right, Mike. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do that. I'll call you back very shortly, and we'll continue this because I think it's important to kind of get your thoughts on this. Yes, sir.
And just to throw it out there, if when you call back, you reach out to the person, they say I'm busy because I'm on another call with someone else or something like that, you can just ask them the question, let them know that I was pulling up the name for you, in which case they'll message me internally on our intranet here and just ask me what the name I had, if that person doesn't already have that information readily available for themselves. Okay.
Well, Mike, I'll call you. I'll tell you, if you can make yourself available in about 30 minutes, do you have any calls in the next 20, 30 minutes that you need to be on?
So similar to the way that you called in, that's how I get my calls when people call in.
Okay.
So there's no way for me to know whether I'll be on the call, of course. And we service a number of events. GDC is owned by a larger entity, so and one of our events is live this week, so it is very possible that I'll be on another call at the time. Not guaranteed, so we'll play it by ear, but I wanted to, prepare you for that potential eventuality.
Okay, well, that's cool. Hey, just out of curiosity, who is the owner of the GDC?
I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. What company owns the GDC?
So GDC itself is owned by a company called
Informa
Tech.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Say that one more time, please.
I'm sorry. GDC owned by a company called Informa Tech.
Informa Tech.
GDC is a brand, right? An event that's held. Informa Tech. We are the producers of the event.
Okay, awesome. Well, Mike, I'll call you back here in a little bit. Hopefully, you're available, and we'll continue the conversation then, my friend. Okay.
All right. You have a good day, Greg.
Hey, and thank you very much, and congratulations on your new place.
I appreciate that, my friend.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon. All right. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, so there you go. There's Mike.
Wait,
from the
wait.
GDC.
The parent company's Informa Tech? Is that like from Office Space, Infotech? That owns
I mean, that's the first I've heard of that. They may be the management company or something, but yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's journalism, folks. I'm not a journalist, but that's how you do it. You make a phone call, and then when you don't get an answer, you keep pushing. And I will continue to push. As soon as the show is done, after I talk with Blabs, we'll come back. So we'll see what happens. And because the ultimate goal here is to get to the answer of why, what GDC has to say about one of their advisors saying, "Fuck white men." Because guess what? That's racist and it's homophobic.
It's not very inclusive.
Well, it's not homophobic, is it? But it's racist and it's sexist.
It could be homophobic depending on the guy.
That's right. Well, we need to learn more about Informa Tech as well, which does that not sound like the most generic company name in the world?
So generic. And that's actually, I'm glad you said that, because that was the first thing that came to my mind when they said that. I'm like, it's almost like they create a convoluted pyramid so that you can never actually get to someone to talk to. It's like, oh, we actually have a company that owns us and it's a board of directors and this guy and this, you can't really talk to them. You can just speak to my manager. Like, that's what it always boils down to. And nothing ever happens because it gets to be too massive.
Yeah, well, you were talking, Smash, earlier about like seeping through the cracks. And I think these activist types, their argumentative tactic is basically to turn into formless jelly. That just sinks into those cracks, and you can't pin them down on anything. They just constantly find a way to slip out of your grasp and evade.
Or another way to put it is, and I've noticed this a lot more too, that I've been ingraining myself in this world. I was really bad at picking up on it at first, and now I call it out as soon as I see it. But goalposts moving. Like, you're having a conversation and then they'll just be like, well, here's this other thing that has literally nothing to do with what you're talking about. And then you're like, you can't answer that because then the conversation goes over there. So you call it out as soon as it changes the conversation, and it pisses them off so much because they're like, no, this equates to this other thing. So let's talk about this other thing. And it's like, no. We're not talking about that other thing. We're talking about this situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to point this out. I pulled up the Informa Tech website here, just to kind of do a little dive on the company real fast, just a real high level dive. Here's Informa Tech. And if you scroll down and you look at like their About Us, what's the second thing you see?
Look at that.
There you go.
Now, here's the other thing about this is then when you click on the leadership team, I'm not going to look. Blabs, get out of the way. Sorry there, Smash. Let me just say this. This is amazing. There are 9 members of their leadership team. 9 members. How diverse do you think their leadership team is?
Don't even tell me it's all white dudes. That's amazing. Oh my God.
Nice.
We are 9 for 9 with the gringos, folks.
Wow.
I thought white people were shitty. What the hell, man?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And this is the do as I say, not as I do. All the diversity preachers. They're the first ones to tell you that we need more diversity in our organization, but they'll be the last one to step down from their position to hand it over to someone who's diverse. It's fascinating how that works.
You know what's also I mean, these people aren't just white; they're white. They are mega white, right?
They are whiter than me.
I mean, right. I'll tell you what. These are blonde hair, blue eyed, like man, that's white. Anyways, congratulations to these people. I'm sure Ruth Ovens has a lot to say as she's the chief. Based out of the UK. There it is, right there. Anyways, so we'll get to the bottom of this whole thing with the GDC and get their statement on. I guess all those people, according to Marina Diaz, are that they should rot in hell. They should die. They should go fuck themselves. All those people. Maybe not the women, but definitely the men.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious what she would have to say about that staff page for sure.
Well, I have a question. I'm curious what she thinks about transgender people, because like if you're a dude but you identify as a woman, does that make you a white man, or is she okay with the trans? So even if you're clearly a dude, but you identify as the woman, then I'm just trying to keep up with the law. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not. There's too many rules and red tape with all this. I don't even know what their brain is telling them.
I hear that. All right. Well, Smash, we got you for 15 more minutes. Let's move on to our final story of the day. And that's a big one here. Like I said, we're going to get to the bottom of the GDC stuff here in a little bit. But so big news came down yesterday that the Pokemon company, first and foremost, was involved with 2 lawsuits. Nintendo was. Now, this first one from Bounding into Comics, as the Pokemon company actually won a $15 million copyright lawsuit against a Chinese clone. So that's cool, I guess, right? And this is one of those things where you see clones all the time, specifically out of China, where they take things that are made somewhere else, they bring it in, and guess what? They don't have any copyright laws or anything like that. But the bigger news
real quick,
yes, sir.
Curious to see, because we see these kind of lawsuits and results all the time. Very curious to see on what Nintendo is able to actually produce as far as income from that settlement or that lawsuit result. Because just because they won it, are they going to pay that? It's in China. Are they going to just give Japan the money internationally, or are they just going to be like, go pound sand? Like, congrats, you won the lawsuit. We owe you $15 million. See you later.
Right. Well, see you later. Right. Well, Nintendo also filed another lawsuit yesterday, and that obviously is with Pocket Pair, the company that developed and published Palworld. This is straight from Nintendo.co.jp. It says Nintendo, together with the Pokemon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair Inc. on September 18th. The lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the IP as it has worked and established over the years. Worked hard to establish over the years. So there we go. There's a lawsuit. People have been talking about this for a long time. Will there be a lawsuit between Nintendo and Palworld? Here it is. Overall thoughts on this, John?
To my knowledge, Nintendo has gone into zero detail on what these patent infringements are, and I'm not sure they have anything, because I haven't played Palworld, but I've seen a bunch of gameplay of it because I was really curious about it, and there are obvious similarities, but I don't think there's anything there that's grounds for what Nintendo is trying to do here, and I feel like this is just. I feel like they're just trying to scare them or something. I don't know. But why leave it this late if that's the case? It doesn't make sense to me.
I'm going to hop in and just strongly disagree as politely as I can, because Nintendo doesn't lose these. Like, if they're going to do it, they have something. They always historically have something where they're like, here's a smoking gun, here's what you did, and here's what we're demanding from it. And if you look through their track record of this, it's always right. Like, they don't lose ever. Like, I'm sure there might be one example throughout history, but very, very rarely.
Sure, but do you think they'll win through pressure, or do you think Nintendo actually has some,
I think
grounds?
they actually have something.
Okay.
I don't think they'd move forward without it. I think that's not, Nintendo doesn't do that. They are very structured when it comes to what they expect out of something. And just to pair it with, when this first became a controversy, which it was outside of what IGN and Kotaku know what controversies are, this was a controversy. When Pocket Pair came out with Palworld, everyone was like, oh, wait, these designs are eerily similar. And then you see the Reddit threads where they put the design gets leaked on top of the old design, and they're literally one for one the same, except for one has like a feather on it, and they call it a different name and they give it a gun. That's a problem. And when that came up, people were questioning Nintendo. What are you going to do? Are you going to sue them? And Nintendo, I don't know, Craig, if you have this, or if you want me to share it in the private chat, what Nintendo's original response was to this.
Yeah, share it in the private chat, please.
Okay.
We do have Palworld's response to the lawsuit, which we'll get to in just a little bit. I don't
well, I'll share that in the private chat. And their initial take was regarding Pocket Pair's Palworld. Let me wait for you to bring it up. There we go. Which has been pointed out for its similarity to Pokemon. Furukawa said that in general, we will take appropriate action against those that infringe on our intellectual property rights. And everyone's like, okay, so Nintendo's not suing them, so maybe this is them not infringing on it. Where I would look at the situation, and I could be wrong, I'm definitely not a lawyer, nor do I play one on YouTube, but this kind of looks like Nintendo saw that they had a case from Jump Street, but in order to prove financial damages, they had to wait for Palworld to make money. So what they did was just wait and see it explode, and millions upon millions of downloads and money and everything they've earned. And now Nintendo's like, okay, that's the side of, we can prove the damages of that's what they earned. Now we can pair that up against our games and how this could tarnish the reputation of what they do and how they made money off of it. And, oh, by the way, here are the similarities. And my point being, Nintendo has something. If I was Palworld or Pocket Bear, I would be shitting my pants right now. But I have not seen their response, Craig, so I'm very curious as to what they said.
All right. Well, Palworld says in response regarding the lawsuit, yesterday a lawsuit was filed against our company for patent infringement. We have received notice of this lawsuit and will begin the appropriate legal proceedings and investigations into the claims of patent infringement. At this moment, we are unaware of the specific patents we are accused of infringing upon, and we have not been notified of such detail. Pocket Pair is a small indie game company based in Tokyo. Our goal as a company has always been to create fun games. We'll continue to pursue this goal because we know that our games bring joy to millions of gamers around the world. Palworld was a surprise success this year, both for gamers and for us. We were blown away by the amazing response to our game, and have been working hard to make it even better for our fans. We will continue improving Palworld and strive to create a game that our fans can be proud of. This is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged by pursuing their creative ideas. We apologize to our fans and supporters for any worry or discomfort that this news has caused. As always, thank you for your continued support of Palworld and Pocket Pair.
Real quick, Craig, someone had a really good point in the comments. And by the way, I like I prefaced it. I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on YouTube. Everyone's like, "You're wrong." This is what I'm like. I'm just giving my take on what I think initially on it. I don't know any deeper than that, but I do find it curious that it is a lawsuit coming from Nintendo and not the Pokemon company or anyone, because Nintendo, from my recollection, they own 33% of, was it Game Freak or the Pokemon company? It's Game Freak, Google, and Nintendo all own 1/3 of the Pokemon company. So it is curious that the lawsuit is coming from Nintendo, unless it's strictly because Nintendo feels like it's infringing on a specific Nintendo copyright that may or may not even be Pokemon, by the way. So it's curious.
Well, one tweet I read on the story suggested that it was coming from both companies, like it's Nintendo and the Pokemon company filing this together.
It is both, yeah. Now, you mentioned you're not a lawyer. Well, there is a lawyer, Legal Mindset, who chimed in on this, and his response was we need to see more. Pokemon is finally suing Palworld over patent infringement. Note the case is filed in Tokyo, as both companies are headquartered there, so it will apply relevant Japanese law. We'll need to dive deeper into the facts, but regardless of specifics, this will be bloody. You may be asking yourself, like, how much has Palworld made? Right, it's been a success, and I'll take this for what it is.
A lot.
Right now, and this does not seem right, but I think it's considerably higher than this. But right now, according to Microsoft Bing, they made about $164 million, which I think it's far greater than that personally. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was interesting to see kind of their response to this, the original Palworld response of, like,
do you notice
they kind of
go
into the
poor us little guy? That's what you're gonna say.
Bingo. Yep. We're just small indie devs. What are you talking about?
We didn't expect this to be popular. Whoops.
Right.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of smart to take that perspective, because gaming, especially for indie devs, it really is a lot of just borrowed ideas and making them into something better. That's kind of what the whole entertainment industry's been: music, movies, video games,
everything.
A lot of it,
appliances. I mean, everything is derivative to some degree, right?
Right. So it's just like, how much are you allowed to be a derivative of?
What throws me off is that I've never seen any examples of, like, assets where you sort of overlay them and it's like one-to-one an exact mesh, like they just literally dragged in assets from Pokemon and retextured them. I haven't seen that personally. Maybe that is out there. I don't know. The worst I've seen is that, the box system for storing these pals is similar, and there's some designs where it's just like, oh, that looks like that Pokemon mixed with that Pokemon mixed together. I feel like that's the worst it gets from what I've seen. I feel like that's not enough in court, by the way.
I'll send it to the private chat. I don't know if this is verified, but it is a story from Video Games Chronicle that people got their hands on Palworld models, and some of them seem directly traced over Pokemon models. That's from Video Games Chronicle. So,
okay.
I mean, this again, I haven't personally gone through and verified them, but it's like my greater point with all of this, I don't know the details, just like the Legal Mindset said, we need to dive deeper into this. But my first glance of this is, yes, Nintendo definitely has something, or else they wouldn't be doing this. That's my confidence level in Nintendo winning is very high, even though I don't know the details of what's even involved with it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the first I'm seeing some of those images, and some of those meshes do look quite similar in terms of proportion, like all the limbs and stuff that make up the whole mesh. Yeah. If they get on a deep technical level, they might be able to pull something.
Okay, and people are saying in the chat that was faked, that Video Game Chronicle article. That's why I said I haven't verified it. I don't know. But yeah, just I again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is the info that I have that I'm throwing out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like this is pretty close. I mean, it's got a flower around its neck, like it's.
Why wouldn't you switch up the colors at the very least? You know what I mean? Like make it blue.
I think because they genuinely wanted to make a Pokemon with guns, and being a small indie dev, I think there's a lot of leeway for they didn't really know how popular it would be, so they were probably just being stupid with let's just put a gun in this one's hand, let's change it a little bit and make this game and be fun with it. I really think it just comes down to just being ignorant to a lot of the stuff, because they would. How many games are made that fail? Like, how many games are clones of other games? Like, it's in the millions at this point. Like, there's so many of them. So I think it's fair to give them the benefit of the doubt that they were probably just having fun, and maybe it came from a passion of the original developers being like, I love Pokemon. I want to make Pokemon better, and I want to give them guns because it's a video game and I can do that. I think it's just that simple.
Yeah, well, like you guys were saying just a bit earlier, like they seem to be leaning into that as part of their defense, right? Like we didn't know it was going to be this big, but I don't think they're being disingenuous when they say that. Like that, I think that is actually accurate. It's just a shame.
Well, there's always Razor to be the voice of reason. Says they let Digimon and Monster Rancher slide for 20 years, but Palworld was a bridge too far. That's right.
That's
yeah.
great.
Well, like we were just talking about now, I feel like if Nintendo has something, it's probably based on something specific about the designs, not the overall scheme of like being a boy who catches monsters and has a team of monsters that fights other teams of monsters. I don't think you can make a claim on that. But some of the art design and the meshes and stuff, there might be something there.
But I do have to hop off. So.
Yep. All right, sounds good. Everyone, go to Smash JT's YouTube channel. Smash, get out of here, buddy. We'll see you. Thank you so much. Obviously, he's doing great journalist work, even though he's not a journalist guy. Smash, tell everybody where they can find you real quick.
SmashJT.com, YouTube.com/SmashJT. Always a pleasure. Great time as always. Thank you so much for the invite. Always available when I can be to be here. I love being here. Love you guys. And again, thank you for having me. And thank you, chat. And you guys are the best. And until next time, I'll see you later.
It's good talking.
Oh, wait. No. Until next time, you stay smashing. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Later, guys.
See you, Smash. Take it easy, bud.
Take care.
All right. My oh my. What a journey we've been on today, huh, John? I'll tell you what, it has been quite the journey.
Is that the first time you've had Smash on your show?
Oh no, he's been on several times. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But all right, we got some support to get to, guys. Thank you very much for all your support. We genuinely appreciate it. Whether you're popping in over on obviously YouTube, or direct donations, or over on Rumble. Of course, we do encourage you guys to head over to sidescrollerspodcast.com. I mentioned that earlier in the show, but I'll re-mention it right now. We just passed 100 supporters over there. Spectacular. Coming up on Wednesday of next week, I'll be doing a watch-along of Golden Era, the GoldenEye 007 documentary. Go on over there, become a supporter. Really appreciate it. And to give you a little bit of a carrot as well, use promo code GOLDEN, get $27 off the annual membership. So head over there to sidescrollerspodcast.com. That is the best place to support. If you drop a $10 super chat, just go over there, become a supporter over there, a monthly supporter. We'd really appreciate it. That's spectacular. Over at sidescrollerspodcast.com. Speaking of super chats, Elite Neo, my boy, came in with a 10. Says Sega does it right with their let's hire this guy approach instead of being overly litigious. Look at how they leveraged Christian Taxman Whitehead's talents and brought us Sonic Mania. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I think that Nintendo, instead of porking out all this money, they should just buy Palworld. Like, just buy it. Make them an offer, buy the company. Lion came in. Says apparently someone on Twitter found Nintendo's filed for some patents after Palworld released. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Lion.
Well, surely if that's true, that's going to be brought up if it gets to court, right?
Oh, 1,000.
I don't know how Nintendo can sit on that.
Yeah. Christopher came in and says, Beyond Shadowgate, the sequel to the NES Shadowgate, dropped today on Steam and Good Old Games. Pick it up and check it out for all normal gamers out there everywhere. Hey, thank you so much, Christopher. Appreciate that. Beyond Shadowgate, the sequel to the NES game. That's pretty fun. Wonder if it has some rockin' beats like the original one did. Gear came in with $100,000. Thank you, Gear. Says Nintendo should learn from Saber Interactive, or otherwise they'll ruin the Tokyo Game Show and make Warframe players angry. The Japanese were currently gatekeeping from these corporate radicalism. Thank you, Gear. Appreciate that. Elite Neo also came in and says, seeing as how Turnabout is fair play, Nintendo better hope Atlas doesn't sue them for how Pokemon ripoffs the whole monster taming concept popularized by Megami Tensei series.
Yeah, everything's derivative. You can trace everything back to something.
Yep, as always. Norm says, the fact that Nintendo has waited this long to pursue legal action must mean they have built a mega beast of a case. I'm pretty sure the moniker of Pokemon with guns isn't helping Palworld. I agree. That's probably not the best marketing when you're going against Nintendo. Flickerbox says, suing for the catch, the mount, and breeding. Thank you, Flickerbox. Module Cell says, why are you all resistant to inclusion and diversity? Are you the gatekeepers of the gaming industry? I don't think anybody here is resistant to inclusion and diversity. You know what I'm the biggest champion of? Hiring the person who's right for the job. That's all. I know that may seem crazy to you, but no. And to answer your question, are we the gatekeepers of the industry? Yes, and you are too. And so is everybody watching this show. The gamers are the gatekeepers of the industry. They decide what sinks or swims. Always, you vote with your wallet.
Yeah, and the resistance comes from those words being used by activists in a bullshit way. It's like it's the opposite in practice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely ready. Came in with that. That's speaking of how inclusive that company was. And James Opp, thank you very much. Joey also came in and says, apparently Informa Tech is a marketing company that's supposed to help build and manage brands. Oh yeah, we see that all the time when it comes to these the big live events. There's always a parent company that runs it. Reed Pop ran like RTX for a long time. There's always a management company associated with it for sure. KVLT, Guilt Games, because people should play our roguelike game instead. It's DEI free, The Great Rebellion. Search Steam, stay based. That's right. Hey, Great Rebellion, great dudes. Seen some great success with their game. Check it out. Great Rebellion over on Steam. Hayden came in and says, that's all Dustborn was. It's just a training tool disguised as a game. Well, good thing it didn't hit many people along the way. And Tech Sport Gaming says, go to the fridge, come back. Blabs in the corner of the screen gave me Dan Forden flashbacks to 3D Toasty. That's right. That was the whole idea. That's why I popped her down there. Oh, there she is right there. Thank you for that. There she is. Excellent. There you got that. Look at Blabs is talking on there. Blabs will be back soon because she's sick as soon as she recovers. But, there's that. Got to recover first. Over on the direct donation side of things, guys, thank you very much. Shiny King came in and says, Anita and her ilk are scrounging for pennies, while the so-called garbage human just celebrated 1,000 episodes. We told you a decade before, and we'll tell you again. Shut up, bitch. Craig, get Sargon on. You could talk about being a dad in the information age. Thank you, Shiny King. Appreciate you, my man. Aiden says, how are you, Craig? The past week, I've been placed on in charge of my work since the supervisor is on vacation. In other words, I'm El Jefe till he gets back. Good thing. I already earned their respect, and they do as I say. Do as I say. All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much. And congratulations for that. God damn it. I want a name came in. It says socialism needs an enemy to, quote, work. For Nazis, it was the Jew. For communists, it was the people who owning land. For fascists, it was everyone outside the state. And for those people, it's the white man. White men are the new. The goal is to unperson you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to read it that way. Aiden says, furthermore, I'll make sure they won't act like a bunch of kids. They're men, for Pete's sakes. I'll put my foot down and get my balls up and tell them to knock it off and get back to work. My brother doesn't want to hear any problems. There you go, Aiden. Way to be a tough guy. I love it. Ree came in over on Rumble, says, what gets me is the unironic socialists, commies, SJWs, and wokes in general think they're going to be the ones facing think they aren't going to be the ones facing the wall at the end. They unironically think they're better than Marx. You ain't him. He says they unironically think they can make socialism, communism work now better than it's done before behind the Iron Curtain. The same people need safe spaces and don't want guns. The ego you need to have here. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Tech Sport Gaming says with that, and Rebound says inclusion and diversity are the weasel words commies use to browbeat their opponents. Power is the only thing they care about. Make no mistake. And Gear came in, says the best way to vote is with your wallet. 1,000%. All right, there we go, man. We got some locals support over there, which is wonderful. Thank you, locals, for your support as well. Spoon Ninja says Nintendo have Nintendo ambassadors play Palworld openly. Interesting. They also followed up with says, "Hail Craig, ask if they get Kenny logins up for the hold music." Did. And Land of the Babes was awesome. Was an awesome PS1 title. Thank you so much, Spoon Ninja, for your support over on locals, which is great. All right, I think we are all the way wrapped up. Yeah, there we are. We are. Hey, John, we did it.
Nice.
We made it through a Thursday show.
That's good.
All right. Well, tell everyone where they can find you and what you got going on, my dude.
John Graham on YouTube. I'm the RB and the Chief guy, as my title suggests. I've worked for Machinima way back when, and I'm still doing it. So I'm working on Cops and Aliens show with Halo Reach, which you kindly did a voice for, so thank you. And doing RB and the Chief as well. I got a couple lined up. I got a couple scripts written. I got one that's about Nintendo World Championships NES Edition for the Switch. Ooh. And then I got another one about a game called Pools on Steam, which is like a vaporwave pool core synthwave kind of thing. So yeah, that's my channel, John Graham.
All right. Love it. Love it. All right. You guys go check out John. The links are in the description. We'll make sure you head over there and find them. Do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button as we're going a little bit more, closing in on that 100,000 subscriber mark. We appreciate you guys popping in. You guys have a great rest of your day. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great day, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.